The best of 5 is definitely going to be in our advantage because we got the home crowd. We have experience in playing long-term games, but at the same time, we'll see who adapts faster.
Welcome back to PAX Prime in the 2013 NALCS Regional Playoffs. It's time for Game 2 in this best-of-5 championship bout between TeamSoloMid and Cloud9. And after an action-packed Game 1, Cloud9 walked away with the win in just over 31 minutes.
Yeah, and Hai said yesterday that he wants to just go in hard all the time. He wasn't lying. He got a couple of kills early on in that game, and then after that he could 2v1 and 3v1 TSM with his cannon. And TSM actually banned away Sneaky's Ash. But it didn't really phase Sneaky. He had a great game on Varus anyway, just still initiating with ultimates and cleaning up teamfights with awesome snipes. And we can't talk about Cloud9 without talking about Meteos
Absolutely.
once again. He was once again unkillable on Elise, 4-0-10, dodging Requiem, saving teammates with Locket, out-farming, initiating, and just doing everything for that team.
You know, at the beginning, I was kind of like, all right, he plays Zac a lot. He gets the passive, and he's not going to die. But no, he just actually doesn't die.
Yeah, it's because he has such good situational awareness. He makes a lot of decisions, and he makes the right decision frequently. So it's just an amazing jungling ability. Maybe if they completely try to focus bans on Meteos, we could see him go out, because we know he does get comfortable on champions. He's played Elise every game so far this time.
Yep.
He hasn't played Jungle Zac in a while. Maybe if TSM tries to mix him up a little bit, it might be a better strategy, because everyone else on Cloud9 has already proven that they can adapt.
He did have a fair game on the Eve, and you know, to add on to that adaptation, last game with Sneaky on Varus was one of the ones we saw him get more farm, participate more in fights instead of be a utility type of AD carry, and he really kind of did his own thing that game.
It's a really strange thing. We always talk about how Sneaky can do more with less, how he knows how to sacrifice farm into his jungle. But then at the end of the game, we look, and who's getting triple kills? Who has the top gold on Cloud9? It's Sneaky. How'd he do that?
Quadra kill in the extended fight, taking out Xpecial in the end, as he did what he could on the Nexus. But that one Nexus means that Cloud9 is 2 games away from being the NALCS champions, as well as moving on to Worlds with TeamSoloMid and Vulcan. That spot, very coveted right now, that TeamSoloMid holds.
It's going to be huge being able to skip the group stage for one of these teams at the World Championships, and this is the adaptation TSM's trying to make. It's small, but it's there. They're banning Elise, they're making Meteos go into something else, and then Cloud9 actually stuck with fairly similar bans. The Vladimir Ari is something they're going with every game. That Zed could mean big things for Reginald, though.
Rumble has not been banned. I think if we had a Twitter question between the games, it would have been, I think they should ban Rumble, but that didn't happen.
So if we put up a Twitter question for what champion should TSM ban against Cloud9, we can get about 25 different responses. I think every time after Cloud9 wins, it's like, why didn't they ban Elise, Zac, Ashe, Zyra, Jarvan, Zed, and Kha'Zix? Because you can't. It's just not something you do. Anyway, the Nocturne pick here by Meteos has me a little bit excited, because the last time he played Nocturne, he brought out the damage Nocturne, Ravenous Hydra, Last Whisper, and he was just blowing people up. Cloud9 actually comboed it with Twisted Fate that time. I wonder if they're going to do something similar here and just make it so Wild Turtle's not allowed to play the game.
They like to go for that AP composition. Right now, it does put Reginald on the 80, so they aren't focusing on that altogether, but Dyrus likes the matchup of not having to be face-to-face with Rumble.
Yeah,
picking that Karthus.
He didn't have the best Karthus game last time. Rumble was able to run him down a little bit.
Once he got those levels.
But I can see where TSM is coming from with this composition. They're overloading with damage right now in their solo lanes, which is actually something Cloud9 has done a lot of to great success this split. For the last few TSM picks, they actually need to find a fair bit of utility, and I'm wondering what the odd one's going to pick to get the sufficient amount of lockdown. With the Jarvan, the 4th ban, it makes it a little bit more difficult for the odd one. Zac is pretty much all he has left when he's trying to make that initiation. It fits perfectly.
There will be a bit of the lockdown they're looking for, some of that soft core CC. The Twitch going on to Wild Turtle. Shen making it all the way through on this one as well. Very interesting kind of pick ban phase that's going on here. The players really had everything, it seems, set in mind coming into this one.
Yeah, they could just go Kennen again as well, because they would like that little bit of additional lockdown. I think it's between Kennen and Twisted Fate right now, because obviously his Ahri and Fizz have both been somewhat banned away, and he goes with the Kennen.
Why not? You have all of the area effect to follow it up. They liked that Varus last time. Sneaky participating in the fights worked out quite well, especially towards the end game, as we stated. But these teams, it looks like they just gave Cloud9 what they won with.
It's not about giving Cloud9 what they want. It's about Cloud9 taking what they want, because they want so much right now, and they can get it almost whenever they want to.
We'll see if they can do it. Hai does get his Kennen back. It's going to be against the AD of Zed, though. That's a lot different of a matchup. That can be punished quite hard. Zed just stands in his minions. Kennen always has to be around that, unless he has his shuriken up to mark the storm. So it's going to be an interesting mid lane. Our top laner was the last one, and Balls definitely came out on top of Dyrus for that one. So, you know, making one for this one, let's just say we're looking at Hai and Reginald for here.
And we still got to talk about how great that game one actually was between these two teams, because that was the most well-played 31-minute defeat I think I've ever seen by TSM right there, because they were matching Cloud9 blow for blow throughout the majority of that game, but Cloud9 was just hitting a little bit harder. It was incredibly action-packed, and it means TSM didn't really lose by that much. It's just the game was so extremely accelerated that it ended up ending a little bit early.
One of the first games we didn't see any sort of invasion as well in the early part of the game. A little bit back and forth, but those first bloods to come one after the other and then be followed up. So if that sticks with it, again, lane matchup's going to be even. We'll have to see. But looking for the dragon. If nothing happens before that, expect Cloud9 to win that fight.
Yeah, Cloud9 lives around dragon fights. And even with this team composition, they have the Kennen Rumble combo once again with Zyra Varus lockup. The only difference is it's Nocturne instead of Elise. 4 of the 5 parts of Cloud9's team composition from game 1, they have once again. That's when Cloud9 gets their comfort zone. They do not care what you go up with against them. They'll play their game.
All right, beautiful people. We are into game 2 here of our best of 5 series, the NALCS Summer Finals. Cloud9 versus TeamSoloMid. Game 1 to Cloud9, quite definitively, as Jat said. I think it's a good way to put it. The best defeat, you know, that you've seen.
Yeah, it was a very hard-fought game by both of these teams. They're showing why they deserve to be in this final game, fighting for that bye in the World Finals.
Big party in middle.
Party time.
Nice little hit there. Sneaky actually choosing out to go for the piercing arrow first, so it doesn't look like they are thinking for the engagement. And there's not too much that either team can really do on an initial level 1. But
wow, and look at how much these teams have scouted each other. As soon as TSM got spotted, they actually pinged the 3 spots that Lemon Nation just warded, preemptively. They're pinging them again. They're just like, ward there, they pinged the red buff, and they pinged above there. So TSM knows exactly what Lemon Nation just did, and they guessed right. That's impressive.
This time, however, Meteos is not going to die at Tribrush.
Not today.
Not today.
Well, maybe today. We still got plenty of games.
That's true. That is true. So the 3 wards sitting in that bottom jungle, the bottom-most ward being the Explorer one, that is to catch who is going to lane. So they can either match it up or switch it up to the 2v1s.
And the last early game was actually quite reserved between these two guys. They respect each other a lot in the laning phase, because we got to remember Cloud9, before they were even in the LCS, they had 5 accounts, I believe, in the top 9 of Challenger. They're all individually incredibly skilled in lane. They're kind of good at that. Whereas Wild Turtle has, at one point, had, I think, 3 of the top 5 Challenger accounts. Like, these guys know how to lane. And that's why they respect each other so much in these situations, because they've laned against each other more than anything.
Day in and day out, this is what they are seeing. They know it the best, and that's why they sit on the stage in front of you with your cheers to lead them on. 2 minutes into this one, like you said, Jap, probably going to play the same pace as last game here. We do have the 2v1s to match up, so we may see a little bit more from the junglers in the beginning. Not extremely fast, but that potential is there.
And Meteos actually got a little bit outplayed here, because he is trying to take the blue buff in a lane where his AD carrying support can't help him. He took a lot of harass to get that down, and it actually pulled Balls in to save him.
Level 1 Special High coming down a little bit here. He's not going to miss any experience, as Reginald also came down to help. Both of them returned to lane at the same time, so that'll be a little bit chaotic for Cloud9. But they still get the blue, and they're off and running.
Yeah, so
That was actually, even though Meteos got away with it just fine because they made a quick reaction, a very dangerous situation for Cloud9 to be in. Oftentimes, when a jungler is planning his early route, he needs to make sure he takes his second buff on the side where his support and AD carry are when you're doing 1v2 lanes. Otherwise, that 2v1 lane is just going to be able to collapse down and outnumber you at the buff. So if TSM actually would have sent Wild Turtle and X Special up there to stop Meteos, they could have. They had more priority, though, just farming the lane and pushing up this turret, trying to get balls pushed back.
Trying to lock it down. We know the Balls mentality is that if I am down, I am going to be able to come back in this game. Dyrus getting hit up pretty hard here. This is the 2v1 to the turret. The 3v1 won't be there. Lemon Nation is not Dyrus. Almost stays alive. This one going over to Meteos.
Tricky little turret dive, but they all get away unscathed right there. Low health on Sneaky Meteos and Lemon Nation. And let's see if TSM has an answer. I don't think they do, because the odd one was happily farming the jungle, whereas Meteos was the first one to make the gank kill. That actually substantially surprised Dyrus, since if we track Meteos' overall jungle path and where he got spotted, he went red buff to blue buff, and then went all the way back through his jungle to get behind the turret. Dyrus did not expect him to make that movement. It was actually quite unlike Meteos, because he sacrificed a lot of farm in order to make that gank happen.
He's actually stated that in previous games. I think it was against Crumbs. When Crumbs went to that 2v1 lane and he was there, he said that put them ahead. He had to back and go to the bottom lane to soak up that experience. This time, however, they actually got the kill out of it. So working very nicely, putting it up 500 in gold. And Meteos keeping himself all around the map. That's actually going to help him if he is going for that strong attack damage build.
Check that out. Meteos just built a Doran shield on Jungle Nocturne. Just take a little bit of extra health and quick ability. No Doran's Blade, which is what you generally expect on a Nocturne. Have to see how that works out for him.
Still cleaning up. Looks like he's going to be heading back towards the top side. Dyrus used his flash, used his exhaust. They continued to go after him last game, and again, they're doing it once.
Ooh, there's still no wards up here for Dyrus, so if they get the fear early, or if Balls lands a slow, Dyrus is going to die.
Here it comes out. He misses the Dustbringer, but he's going into the brush. I think he knows he's going to go down in this one, unless he's trying to call time for something.
How long can he last?
Nobody's going to come up, but they do know. Well, look at where Loud One is. They're not able to really activate anything off of this. He was going back, so Dyrus just eventually goes down, but the lane is all the way at the turret, which kind of helps.
Dyrus actually got most of the farm. That's why he ran towards that lane. He's like, I'm getting these minions whether I die or not. He's at 24 CS right now. He died, but he got some back.
Very good thinking in a stressful situation. Not having the flash and exhaust. He actually turned tail as soon as he got hit. And he said, yeah, well, this is bad. Let's make it good. The best of a bad. 700 gold now as Cloud9 does not stop. Just as we say, they take one thing, they want more. We'll see what happens when Dyrus comes back up, but it looks like this top turret is going to get a lot of pressure.
This could also be an early Dragon attempt by TSM, because they recognize that Meteos is up there. They're going to try to tank this one up. The odd one is a pretty good tank here, and it's a 4v3, but that is a very hard-hitting Dragon, and Sneaky can poke in pretty powerfully.
The odd one taking some shots. That piercing arrow did hit. Reggie goes on to Sneaky. The death mark is definitely not going to cancel him out just yet, and this could be a scary fight here. Slicing Maelstrom goes in. Reginald takes some good hits. It's going to be the W, but he can't even hit the surge when he comes out of the shot.
2 kills for 0 and the Dragon for TSM. Reginald skims away with his life, and Cloud9 gets nothing in return.
Again, Dyrus doing what he can, does not want to get dove, but I don't think he's going to make it out of this one. The minions go down. The wave is actually not even past River yet, so Cloud9 has himself in a sticky situation up top, but same goes for Dyrus.
Yeah, and Dyrus is actually trying to get out of there right now because he recognizes they dive him on the next wave, so Dyrus isn't letting it get back to the turret. But let's check out this fight one more time. Reginald flashed away just at the right time, gets a little bit of damage down, and the big thing here is Sneaky tried to finish off Reginald. That's why he overcommitted back into the fight as well. And because Reginald had just that sliver of health left as he shadowed away, it meant death for 2 members of Cloud9.
High, that was patented high, because he went to go in, but he actually hit the W before his second mark of his ultimate came off. So knowing he would only come out with 1 kill, actually just had him a little misplay there. 7.5 in.
Big swing.
1,000 gold. That is a big swing indeed. And with Dyrus dying and pushing, Balls is ready to use the equalizer to push it as well.
On top of getting the 2 kills and getting the gold lead, this also changes the way Cloud9 gets to approach the game. because previously they were going to use a lot of presence around that Dragon fight, knowing they had a Rumble and a Cannon ultimate to contest it. And since it was just taken down before Cloud9 really reacted to it, and the respawn timer on Dragon is the full 6 minutes, it just means that Cloud9 can't necessarily start playing their game yet. They have to wait for that next Dragon to come up.
That next Dragon, a few other things. High didn't directly go for the needlessly large rod this time. Had to take into respect. Didn't have the gold. He's also against that AD, so he's looking for a bit of armor. So his going crazy may be hindered a little bit there, but we saw him with Fizz. He did it before he had a Lich Bane, so maybe it won't.
Yeah, High does know how to come back in lanes, but he obviously is happier when he's ahead. The game Cloud9 wants to play right now, though, is going to be the Meteos efficiency game. How much can he outfarm the odd one?
Right.
And how strong can he get on Nocturne to try and take over the game through the lanes and through Nocturne alt ganks? Because the Dragon has already been taken away by TSM.
And in the inventory, same thing goes for Reginald here. Looking to get that Blade of the Rune King on Zed. We saw that last fight, instantly a laser target onto Sneaky, and that's what he's going to look to be doing, that patented Reggie aggression to come out from Zed. He's already been putting good damage on high and middle. You can see he's winning the trades evenly and is up a level, so he may have that advantage to get out of lane soon.
The Doran Shield pickup on Zed in particular was actually pretty good because Kennen uses so many auto attacks in lane. So being able to reduce that with the Doran Shield has allowed Reginald to farm quite well early on in the game where High usually would have had the upper hand.
This is going to be one of the harder ganks here. You're trying to gank a ninja, guys. Goes back in, but he's going to get some help here as well from the odd one. The odd one is always behind Reginald, but is it enough time? It will be for Dyrus. Requiem comes down. The Let's Bounce may not be able to finish it off. It is a red versus a red-blue buff, and they don't want to transfer this. It is going to be transferred.
It's transferred.
They're going to give it to Balls. This should be given to Balls for that red buff. No,
Meteos wants it for himself. He's going to try and take over this game. That might end up being a good call. He can use the red buff better than Rumble can for the most part. That was a very good turn and then turn back by Cloud9 because Dyrus did swing it initially with his ultimate, but then when Cloud9 balls came down to finish that one off, it really just swung it for Cloud9. If they can get this turret with all of Meteos' power right now, it's going to give them a bit of a gold lead.
Sneaky even playing this one different. 3 Dorans. It was Bloodthirster Last Whisper last game, and he already had his Berserker boots by now, but he's going 3 Dorans. We saw him do it on Ashe. Yeah,
last game the laning phase was actually substantially more controlled, and that's why both High and Sneaky could rush a BF sword and a needlessly large rod, but because there's been so much fighting, the deaths at Dragon, the ganks mid, it just means they're buying items in smaller intervals. They're just trying to be as powerful as possible because they know how important the mid and early game is between these two teams.
So to recap on the compositions here, we saw the double AP coming through strong all week. TSM, the first one in the series to bounce off of that. Cloud9 stays with the Rumble Kennen. Like we said, this is almost the exact same composition except for Elise in the jungle as game 1.
Yeah, and the only difference, of course, is Nocturne for Meteos, which when he picked it, I actually expected him to start going his offensive Glass Cannon Nocturne build, where he did Spirit of the Lizard Elder and then more offensive items. But he actually rushed Spirit of the Ancient Golem right off the bat. So this is a tank Nocturne start for Meteos. I wonder if he's going to transition into tank items later, because a tank Nocturne, as we've seen in the past, doesn't do much as far as diving late game. Meteos, maybe he's got a different thing figured out for how to work tank Nocturne, but it doesn't seem like his style if he continues on that path.
Lanes seem quite even at the moment. That 91-70, however. Wild Turtle coming up big on the CS there. 76 as well. We see the crescendo in the bottom lane on a Lemon. Oh, Wild Turtle flashes right in front of Sneaky. He takes a chain of corruption around the neck, and it's going to strangle him down to the ground. Lemon Nation coming back in with a team. The ward was there for Special to try and finish the fight. But Meteos just on the wing to support the engage.
402 Nocturne. That gank goes credit to the rest of Cloud9.
Oh, he gets the stun down. The shuriken hits. It's only going to be one more. His W, he has actually no energy. Did not pass through, so it looks like he's not going to get that refund. Looking to get these kills. He's running at Dyrus to dodge the lay waste. Dyrus couldn't turn on Defile because of the mana.
Reginald's still going to want to try and hunt down High here because they're pinging where he could have been. This is the nook that everyone tries to hide in. Let's check out that Reginald chase if he can find High in that jungle as the rest of Cloud9 takes the Dragon.
Just gets away from it. Not going to see the kill come up, but the odd one looking to do a drive-by. could get the kill onto Lemonation. The bounce will be there. He sees the damage that Dragon has. He gets the kill, but it looks like it may be grim for him. Maybe not. That's quite low mana coming out from C9.
Yeah, basically Lemon Nation sacrificed his life there so Meteos could get the smite onto Dragon. The odd one was preoccupied with killing Lemon Nation, and Lemon really let it happen as Meteos controlled another objective for his team. This is another one of these games, like in the first one, where they are just trading punches fast and furiously.
7-5 at 13 minutes, and it's only a 400 gold lead. And this is the game that TSM was able to slightly swing that gold lead back, which they could not do last game. But Cloud9 has found a way to do that. Pretty much even at this point. Somebody is to make that next move. Dragon down. See what Cloud9's pink wards look like. Lemon Nation loving to get those pink wards on the map before he gets the oracles out, but just not yet.
Yeah, so now, because the turret is down for Cloud9's bottom lane, Sneaky and Lemon Nation have a tough time protecting this blue buff.
Yeah.
They kind of have to do double duty at this point, and High is also cheating down to that lane a little bit as well. Cloud9 does not like being down turret, so they're going to look to push TSM back as quickly as possible. High might just look for a kill here.
Those are some chunks right there. Electrical Surge to stop him up. He's going to have another Shuriken.
Meteos found Turtle.
They're slowly waltzing into this fight, forcing the flash on the bottom. Turtle goes down in the top side. That was very calm and collected by Cloud9 with separate fights going on.
They're trying to take control back of this game, and they seem to be getting it a little bit. The last few things that TSM has tried to do have been answered very well by Cloud9. Meteos in particular, though, is someone we need to keep tracking because he is continuing to build tankily, and I think he needs a few offensive items if he wants to have a large impact. So far, so good for him, but that Nocturne doesn't necessarily scale into the late game.
He's only missed one participation in the 8 kills of his team. He is 4-0-3 right now, looking very big. We'll see what they have in store for TeamSoloMid here, but TeamSoloMid still, like I said, very much in this game. Where are they going to be going next with Wild Turtle trying to get that Infinity Edge? They're going to get more damage than they are out of Sneaky.
Yeah, so at this point for Cloud9, they're really just trying to hold the fort here until their stuff comes back. They want Meteos to find a position for a big Nocturne ult, and then maybe shut down Wild Turtle again. Turtle has been picked on heavily in this series.
All right, let's see what they can do. At 8-5 right now, Cloud9 knows they want a few kills, and after that Dragon, they were able to pressure down, continuously try it. The odd one pretty much risking his life for the rest of the team to come in and get some kills there, but it's not working out for them as much as they're trying, because Cloud9 is always on top. The gold lead slightly in favor of C9 right now with one turret in their favor, and like Jat said, that was the turret down by Dragon, down by the buff, so that is positions being lost. Turtle gets caught up all alone here. Sneaky Elimination looking to pick up a kill. Turtle gets himself, oh no, High is on the other side. Oh, man, ninjas are always more sneaky than rats.
Yeah, it seemed like he had made the great escape after that one, but once again, Cloud9 as a team is just picking on him no matter what he does. They just chase him down and are keeping him out of having a big impact on this game.
That Zanya's finished up onto High. We've seen him do big things on Fizz with it. We've seen him do big things on Kennen with it just last game. That kill bolsters their gold lead a little bit more and finally puts at least 1,000 in between these two teams here. The top lane pressure onto Dyrus has definitely let up since the objectives become a little bit more increasingly necessary for these teams, but it's still, TSM has that Requiem to use. They're just not finding any engagements, again, being spread so far thin.
And one thing that could be very bad for TSM is the fact they actually haven't lost turrets yet, but they're very close to losing them because they've lost the pressure grip on this game. So if Cloud9 can fight any of them back, the Goldie's getting bigger, but TSM is not giving up easily.
Crescendo on a Sneaky, a great flash over the elbow of the wall to dodge that Stranglethorn. Wild Turtle just
down again.
got back in the game.
And High just puts him down once again, plus the turret. 3v3. High started slow. He's picking up some steam.
It's one of those things that can keep just making itself true. If you use that ult, usually the team that uses the ult second is going to come out on top, and they have just made it true so far. Dyrus getting picked on here. Meteos very tanky coming in. May not have it, though.
Yeah, he does not care about those turret shots, and Dyrus is no threat to him right now. He's using that tank Nocturne to go where he wants, and since he's at the point in the game right now, level 12, he's still relying mostly on his fairly generous base damages. It's because he's out-leveling pretty much the game right now, level 12. No one is a higher level than him, that he's still making an impact, even with that tank build.
Coming out very strong on the top lane. It's going to be balls. He didn't have too much trouble. 1, 1, and 2. He has been worse off and still done better for the team. So we see strength still coming from there. Looking over, Reginald has actually kind of started double dipping in his recipes. Had that Bilgewater, started a Brutalizer, now the Hex Drinker, really putting respect into the damage of the double AP comps that are being brought out this weekend.
He's basically built that Hex Drinker so he can hope to duel any of the AP champions on Cloud9, but Hai has built the Zhonya's right away, so he's already got his Zed dueling in the bag. And of course, we look at that gold lead that is now 4,000. And it wasn't there a second ago, but that's because Cloud9 had 0 turrets. They picked up those 3 turrets so quickly, really cashing in the advantage of pushing TSM out of their territory. And now they went and shopped and hold the item lead as well.
Wild Turtle just finishing the critical cloak on his Infinity Edge. That Bloodthirster already stacking up for Sneaky. Cloud9 is Mounds not ahead, but Mounds ready to start these fights and make these engagements happen, which will eventually put them. Mounds ahead. They may try to get the steal here. It does go to the odd one. But just look at the confidence they think they can put up here, and it is working.
They're one step ahead of the game right now. Reginald was up top trying to shut down balls a little bit, and Cloud9 is just ready for this Dragon, preemptively ready for the red buff as well. Reginald is trying to make that play, dueling the Rumble.
This is big. Reginald doesn't even have that Blade of the Rune King, and he was almost able to zero out balls right now. This could be really big in the engagements. A very nice crescendo on the Hai. Is the Requiem enough? He does grab balls in the top lane. Divers picks himself up a kill now, 11-6 overall. And they're making Cloud9 disengage off of this one, but can they take more?
They're trying to get something back. Cloud9 spent so much time on that Dragon, and then that was a very good damage trade in the mid lane by TSM. They really want that turret, but look at that wave clear. This is tough.
Cannot do it. That Nocturne, along with that hail of arrows from Sneaky, able to just quickly clear it out. They don't even have Zyra there as well to clear. So the turtle and siege power of these guys of Cloud9 still bolstering up as well. We do have Karthus on one side, Wild Turtle for the fights, and they have a team that kind of can be centered around Wild Turtle to finish off the squishies with spray and pray from the backside, but we haven't seen them try to put that together yet.
They are a little bit low on lockdown,
yeah,
which is why the odd one needs to be so strong in this game. And as well, TSM actually got away with a low control composition in one of their games this weekend against CLG, and Wild Turtle was actually on Twitch. But he had a much better Twitch game that time. He was farming substantially better, and CLG wasn't really picking on him the way Cloud9 is. The one thing we can say about Cloud9 is they always have the ability to choose what they're going to do. So they play an objective-based game. So they always bring good turret pushers, good turret divers, and good turret defenders, importantly enough. As well as, since everyone brings so much crowd control, if they want to pick on someone, they can.
Just about 8 minutes ago, that tower score said 1-0. Cloud9 has now found 4, while TSM racked up 1 more for themselves. I don't see the Dragon coming up quite soon here. 21 minutes into the game. The kills are coming very slow, and Cloud9 actually still trying to get the momentum push after each one of those kills. And the thing that allows that, they're keeping Balls and Sneaky together quite a bit in these compositions with Zyra. And if it's not Balls, it's going to be Meteos with that.
Rumble with people who can keep him in the Equalizer. They recognize just how much damage the Equalizer does, especially if you keep someone in it. It basically just kills a person. So Cloud9 now grouping up once again. Meteos is actually being used as a split push threat. Still just going full tank. He's almost all in on that, knowing that right now Reginald's not strong enough to kill him. As a jungler, you don't see someone being top CS in their team very often, but that's what Meteos has accomplished this game.
Right now, Dyra's sitting on 7,000 gold. Meteos alone, 8,300 at 4-0-3. Definitely becoming the tank that his team needs, because what we saw last time, this composition run with Nocturne on the odd one, was them needing a tank as well, and they couldn't get there. But Meteos may be able to do that. Good pressure in the bottom lane, given harass, but it's not going to be enough to take down Reginald. He may be able to come back with a bit here. He has 1,400 gold in his pocket, so he may start to be able to make an impact now.
Yeah, Cloud9 is extending their advantage to about 5,000 here, but just based on how much farm is being channeled into Meteos and how Nocturne actually has somewhat mediocre hyper late game scaling,
right,
I'd give Cloud9 about another 15 minutes to win this game, which by their standards is all right, but just with the way they're distributing their gold, Meteos not having that much, if they don't finish by that point, Wild Turtle's going to catch up, Darius will get strong, and Reginald will be able to kill him.
And it doesn't seem like TSM is panicking in any way either. Sure, they're down a bit, 5K gold. That's not going to mean as much as time goes on if they can keep the same deficit. But as of right now, they still seem pretty composed in this matchup, and everybody still seems to be communicating.
Yeah, and you can see Cloud9, as always, they're trying to create action right now. The Nocturne ultimate was used really just to get some lane control and intimidate Reginald away from split pushing, which as you can see now, Reginald is just sitting at that middle turret, almost waiting for a dive. The Nocturne ultimate is also almost back up. I expect Cloud9 to push off that bottom wave and then come back to either sieging the mid lane or working around the Baron area, because at 23 minutes they've stagnated a little bit here and need to find ways to extend this lead before the clock kind of runs out on their composition.
6 wards on the map for Cloud9, the one in that top bush near Baron coming in for TSM. So they are partying with 5 in mid, keeping each other safe. Reginald is actually playing this one quite dangerous right now, maybe actually trying to draw them off of mid, knowing that Kennen is in the bottom lane.
Yeah, this could actually be a pretty good aggressive move by High if he decides to fight Reginald. I don't know if Reginald's actually strong enough to deal with him in a 1v1 situation. Or sorry, Darius.
Right.
I'm so used to seeing Reginald on Karthus.
I already said it once earlier.
I've said it like 5 times at this point. Jab doesn't even know he's playing Karthus right now. It's because he's in the mid lane spot and he's Darius. It's confusing.
11-6 here. The score staying steady. Like we said, it's not a huge amount of kills. It's the 1 kill, and then the team respects it enough that a turret taken after that. TSM hasn't been able to find the exact same thing, but they are keeping that in their eyes, something that they can still achieve. You saw the odd one being a little bit of an aggressor as they were chasing down mid. Reginald finds the top lane to be more suitable for him as well, and I think that would be the better idea. Dragon in 30 seconds here. He is going to start heading down as he got a good push, so High is going to be in the top lane. They could really start to structure this a few steps ahead.
What's been happening for the last 5 minutes or so has been great for TSM.
Right.
They're stalling the game, and the lead for Cloud9 is not getting any greater. In fact, it seems like Cloud9 is a little bit lost as to what to do. High has no...
Oh, it's still going to hit. That's still going to hit, but he's not able to add the damage on, and that's one thing if you're a Kennen player. People will look for you to use that E, and then they try to kill you.
But the immediate Zhonya's meant there was no Deathmark follow-up damage, so there's nothing for it to amplify. Now they know that the Cannon ult is down as well as the Zed ult. 5v5 4-set Dragon here. I wonder if TSM's going to try to fight this. I feel like it's smarter for them to give it up, but we know TSM, they want to go for a fight.
High got down there so fast, he's already ready to participate. Going in, that's a beautiful equalizer. 3 members sitting in the 1, 2, and 3 points of it. Darius looking to go down in a pretty advantageous spot, but everybody's able to flash away from him. High gets hit up with the crescendo. Here comes the Requiem at the end of the Death Defile. Sneaky on the outside. 1, 2, 3. No, they're for Meteos coming in on the double kill.
A 5-4-1 when all is said is done for Cloud9. They were waiting around. They knew the fight would come, and TSM decided to go in on them. Know that the Cannon ult was down, but he was around the side. The Dragon was only to get the fight. The equalizer hits pretty well, but not amazingly.
Right.
And I have to say, the Meteos dive through the back really split up TSM. He sucked 3 people towards him and still didn't go down. By the way, Sneaky then moved through Darius's dead Karthus corpse and just finished off the rest of the fight. That was another incredibly well-coordinated Dragon fight by Cloud9. And of course, since it was an ace for 1, they have enough savvy to take the Baron.
26-minute Baron coming in for Cloud9 in Game 2. A heavy-handed amount of kills going into the favor of Cloud9. They're now 16-7 on the scoreboard and an 8.5 thousand gold lead.
And luckily enough, all their ultimates are coming back up pretty soon. So they're going to take that huge amount of gold they just got. You can see another blue elixir on High. You can see 10,200 gold on Meteos. That is nearly 2,000 higher than Darius, who is the highest farm on TSM. Meteos is a carry jungler, but he's doing the tank carry right now. The Dragon is down. Cloud9 doesn't care about it right now. They're looking to make a big move on this next push. As long as Cloud9 can get all of their side lanes pushing at once, so there's no fear of a strong split push, Meteos is going to be strong enough to tank up many turret shots. He's incredibly fed on that Nocturne right now. They're going to look to do a turret dive, because even though they still have that 7,000 gold lead, if Cloud9 doesn't push the tempo, they would lose this game.
He said they only have a certain amount of time before that Nocturne only does become a tank. Just a nuisance of utility for his team. Still going to put out some damage, but all you have to do is crowd control him down, and they have the damage to take it back out. If Reginald can get on too sneaky, as he did before, that's only going to be a barriered amount of damage from that death mark. There's a lot of options here. The Seraph's Embrace just finishing up for Dyrus. He is going to be more formidable in these fights and last a little bit longer. His positioning on the Defile has been walked out of quite easy by Cloud9, but those are things Cloud9 continues to remember. Those little nuances in the fight, they have to remember going in with those windows open.
And now they're looking to come around the back. There's not too much space in between these turrets, but they got a little bit of damage down onto Dyrus already. You can tell they're going to try to come in from all angles here. Meteos could come from one side, High could come from the other. Lemonation is denying TSM vision. Cloud9 wants a clean engagement here, and it's looking like TSM is scared enough that they might just give up that outer turret.
Wild Turtle with the Infinity Edge Zeal, looking to go for that static shiv. He will be able to put out some good damage with his spray and pray right now with that Infinity Edge up.
It's a very big moment in the game here. If Cloud9 can get a dive fight, they might win.
Going at a Turtle on the backside, the Chain of Corruption misses.
They missed a lot of spells.
Oh my gosh, Turtle gets absolutely blown up. High makes it to the back line. That is the flash cannon play that he loves to go for. The odd one goes down as well. It was so chaotic. Can't even see all the Cloud9 members, but they're walking out just without a sneaky.
Reginald pulled off the one good play. He obliterated Sneaky 1v1, but then the rest of Cloud9 just crushed TSM 4 for 1. They're tanking up the turret without minions. They don't care. They're going for that inhibitor. They made the dive and the Baron count.
Amazing amount of power that Cloud9 is showing right now. TSM, however, not giving up hope on this one. We've seen what one inhibitor is, and it does not mean the game yet, but it is grim at 11,000 gold. Just under that here for Cloud9. Not one to ever let up on a lead.
Yeah, usually one inhibitor for Cloud9 means another's coming shortly, but let's take a look at this fight. Equalizer and the Varus ultimate didn't land. Reginald basically just killed Sneaky on his own, but that's all he could do. High got a good ultimate off. They pick on Wild Turtle, they finish him off, and most importantly, Lemon Nation wasn't in protect position because he can't really protect against his Ed. He was in attack position, and that's one of the big reasons they got the 4 kills.
Even more, a Frozen Heart looking to be coming into the hands of Meteos here as he gets himself even bigger. The odd one has got the Locket of the Iron Solari down to mitigate some of this damage, especially that Kennen ulti coming in. All the area of effect that they have could be mitigated by a bit. High going on. He has that Zanya's. Zanya's is actually down. It's just about to come up. That's less than 0.1 seconds. Actually keeping him alive for that. Dodges out on the last attack. Goes in for the kill. And he actually gets it. Here it comes the Locket of the Iron Solari. Doesn't save many. It's going to be Dyrus picking up one. Coming in as Meteos as well. But that was a shutdown for Dyrus.
Yeah, a 3 for 2 fight once again. Odd one going in for more.
Odd one comes up big. The General is calling the command shots right now. And it looks like he may be able to get Meteos in a pretty sour spot. But he also goes down himself.
And how many turret shots is Meteos willing to take? That's why that dive could go on for so long. It turns the trade into a 4 for 2 and will most likely grant Cloud9 another turret if X Special decides to not defend 1v3, which
all
is wise.
These engagements, that looked like it was a kill. This looked like it was a kill, but Cloud9 is microing themselves in and out to accept and take the damage so well that they're able to come up with kills like that constantly.
Yeah, and this was High not quite having his Zanyas and Reginald getting the jump on him. It's on TSM to kind of make a play right now since they know Cloud9 was going to make that push into a dive. Then Sneaky actually gets caught out a little bit as well. Amongst all the chaos, he's right in on Dyrus and takes a whole bunch of damage. He ends up going down to Dyrus and the Requiem, but the rest of Cloud9, specifically Meteos, just sees Twitch and kills him. Balls and everyone just run at him, and that's one of the big reasons Cloud9 came out so far ahead in that fight.
We have to remember, Cloud9 also was pretty baroned up for that one. A few of them no, but a lot of them ticking through with that extra buff. So we'll see. Objective free on the map, as you can see the timers in the top left. So all the teams now to regroup. Cloud9 not trying to let that happen for TSM, and they will continue to pound on that front door.
And Cloud9's assault is just relentless. The Oracles again is on Lemon Nation. They have the Reverie if they want to engage. They have multiple people who can be sufficient turret divers. Meteos almost has a Frozen Heart on top of all of his other tank items. They might look to go straight away. High has easy access to the base through the down middle inhibitor. It means if TSM wants to defend this one, they have to account for high on the flank. Cloud9's gonna look to get some stuff with this next wave.
Slowly getting attacks on the turret. I don't think TSM can do too much. A good wall
High's just pushing
might
them off.
allow this engagement. High has entrance right to the back line.
There they
That
go.
is not good for Wild Turtle. Wild Turtle gets taken down immediately. How you engage a fight with that guy inside your base already? TSM getting taken out. It didn't even look like theirs to begin with.
And this is Cloud9 playing fast once again. A 5-4-0. Yep, there goes the Blow Blitz. 29 kills in 33 minutes, looking to take game 2.
Cloud9 plays with the utmost confidence. You could see High standing there multiple seconds for TSM to reorganize. They could have lost that inhibitor, but they knew they had to do something to stop Cloud9, but almost looks impossible.
Another low 30-minute victory for Cloud9. A couple Cloud9 fans giving them the standing O. They're up 2-0 on TSM now. They need to win one of the next 3 to guarantee their 5 in the World Championships. Things are looking great for Cloud9 right now. They are playing fast and well.
Cloud9 has always been a team to come out and have fun. TeamSoloMid has also been in losing positions and came back. They are not a team to give up either. We've seen them win the spring split. They have a chance here to win the summer split, and they are definitely, I think, not by themselves right now, but thinking in their own heads about their play, because they're not discussing things.
Not too much. You could see Reginald, that was a dangerous look for him to have if you're a TSM fan right now, because we know when things are going well for TSM, they're going great. Everyone's happy and hugging, but Reginald actually left that game before it was dead. And we don't want to read too much into it because obviously we weren't in there, but that could very well mean some difficult times for TSM. When they turn on themselves, it takes them a while to work through those issues. They don't have a while. They got to play next game, and they got to win 3 in a row.
You know, we're going to go ahead and send it right over to Kobe and Freak to chat for a breakdown of the biggest plays from Cloud9's aggressive Game 2 win.
Thank you very much, Riv. And that was a pretty incredible game by Cloud9. Now, the first game was all about High. He got going and was pretty crazy on Ken. And this game, all about Meteos.
Jungler class.
Yeah. Jungler class. Kobe, as a Diamond 1 jungler yourself, take us through jungle school.
So this was really Meteos making a very good early jungle plan and sticking to it. He was going to camp the top lane there, and he made it apparent very early with that 3-versus-1 tower dive, and then immediately returning to that lane after the role swap. So then Balls was up there, and they got another kill onto Dyrus. That plan gave up a dragon to TSM, but still, it kept down the one they wanted to keep down, Dyrus. He didn't get to that very super strong Karthus for the area of effect in the later game.
And also you saw the entire team of Cloud9 actually participating in fights. While TSM had some of the extra globals, they had that Karthus in the top lane to help participate in fights. In one example, Balls actually walks across the map to help a gank in progress, and it's actually our first clip of the teamwork of Cloud9.
Yeah. So this is a clip. Let's bring up the first clip here. This is the rotation of Cloud9. This is what everyone talks about, how their movements are so good and so well timed. This is a pick here for Cloud9. They get Reginald, and it looks like, you know, TSM have a good answer. Odd One's coming behind. They're going to be able to trade that back at least. Let's roll the clip here, and we'll see that that's not the case. Here goes Cloud9. Yes, they get the initiate. Reginald turns around, goes aggressive, fights till he goes down, and gets High low enough that the Odd One can come in, even with the added Requiem damage. Okay, we've got this one. But look at the mini-map. Balls immediately started roaming down since the beginning of that fight started, and he arrives just in time. There was no call from the top lane, no Mia. Balls just ran straight down to that mid. He backed up his teammates, and they got another kill. That's just the perfect example of Cloud9's movements being very precise and very well timed.
Hey, there were two things I actually liked about that clip that I kind of wanted to point out. So number one was when that clip started, when it was paused, fully in the top lane. Like, it wasn't like he was waiting in the brush or anything. He was like in the lane, laning. And the other thing was that Cloud9 players and a lot of the top players are pushing all the time. They're always aggressing, killing out the minion waves and pushing to the turret. And in that case, that was Balls who would actually finish pushing a minion wave into Dyrus' turret and was actually freed up. A lot of the times when you see, for example, Shen's who stand united out, if the lane's not pushed, you counterattack, right? When like Shen ults in for a dragon or something, they kill the top lane turret, and they trade. There's no trade. Karthus doesn't kill turrets very fast when he doesn't have any items, and the wave was already pushed to the turret, and those two things combined did a lot for Cloud9.
So there's some things that you get. When Cloud9 shoves every single lane, this affords them vision of their enemies. It also affords them a lot of extra turret pressure that forces their enemies, or it doesn't force them, but it encourages them to start ill-timed fights when they actually don't have the advantage. And that is our second clip. Let's bring up the second clip here. This is at a turret where Cloud9 have just pushed up to it, and they've gotten so much damage on it already that the odd one wants to defend this turret. He starts the fight off before Wild Turtle's there. And so they end up using both the odd one's CC and Xpecial's crowd control, that crescendo, before they actually have damage to deal while they're stunned. So let's roll this clip through, and we'll see in their desperation to save this turret, they use everything they have, both ultimates, before Wild Turtle pops out. And then Cloud9 have everything still. They burst everything down onto Wild Turtle when he shows up. Lemonation even had the exhaust ready. There was no chance for TSM in that fight.
And there you see it, the team fighting mechanics. You actually saw them even get layered properly. For example, the initiation came in, and out came the Stranglethorns, the disengage tool to get rid of the team. And then, when the Slicing Maelstrom came through, still didn't use Grasping Roots. Waited until, okay, Wild Turtle's dead. Xpecial, oh, Xpecial's about to be unstunned. Now I'll root you in place, ensure you can't escape. And, you know, the trust in each other to use their abilities at the right times, like, that's really impressive as well. It's one of the things that had kept Cloud9 at the top of the standings was their team fight prowess.
Yeah, and then from that moment on, it was really Meteo's story once again. It was just this super tank Nocturne. He didn't buy a single offensive item. He was going to be the point man for his team because he likes making the plays, and the way to start off all those plays is to be super tanky. He can start with his paranoia. He can get to wherever he wants. There was nothing for TSM really to answer that.
So incredibly well played by Cloud9. TSM now has to win 3 games straight to get themselves into that first place spot, to get the grand prize there, and of course get the bye into the World Championships. But guys, we have more games. We've got to take a short break, but when you return, Cloud9's going to look to win their 3rd game in a row against TSM and secure that Summer Split title. Plus, Cloud9's manager Jack Etienne will join me to talk about his team's impressive performance on the lounge. The 2013 North American LCS Regional Playoffs live from PAX Prime. We'll be right back, so stick around.